Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Aussie Formula Racing special event, State of Origin. So we're here tonight just to have a bit of fun while we've got the Easter long weekend. And we'll see some competition between Victoria, New South Wales, Queensland, South Australia, Western Australia and New Zealand. Got a very, very busy practice lobby set up in Discord. We've got about 27 guys down there getting very rowdy, very excited to get stuck into this race. We're here for the first race of 4 tonight. There'll be 25% distance. We're here at Canada. All our normal AFR settings are in place, so dynamic weather, we'll have safety cars, formation laps, but the only difference will be qualifying is one-shot quali, so we just want to get through as many of these races as we can. And we're going to jump on board with good friend Seb from Victoria. Check out that livery that he's got there. Most of our team members should be running special liveries to represent their state. So we'll have a quick look at a few of the ones that we've got. So there's New South Wales there for Mikau. As we've got, Peter has already retired from the session. We also have Matsia Dabri from Queensland there, running the maroon coloured livery. We've got Trin as well from Western Australia, running the classic yellow livery. We'll get a slightly better off-board shot. Hi Zelda, glad you're with us tonight. And we'll have a look at our livery from, hopefully we've got one from New Zealand. Here we go, Mickey from New Zealand. A nice black and white livery there. And we'll see we've got Apollo Pepsi as well, who's coming up to the Wall of Champions there with his South Australian livery. And there we go, Mikau on pole, Matsia Dabri P2 as well. T-Mac, Peter, disqualified from the session. Just thank you, Lights, for that livery that you made. Okay, so we've got Mikau on pole. We've got Matsia Dabri, Seb combined, Apollo, Pepsi, Pondon, Trin, Mickey, Potsy, Baitmate. And our top 10, we've got Jacob, Quantum, Saxo, Mika, Nut, Psycho, Simdogger, Big Al, T-Mac, and Peter. And I'm joined in the commentary box by Bandcamp. How are you this evening?
Not too bad, not too bad. How about yourself?
Pretty good, thank you. Pretty excited. Looking forward to this. A bit more of a casual kind of Sunday night. Yeah, I think it's going to be pretty good. Nice, not too serious. Everyone's taking the gloves off a little bit, but state rivalries as well as our Trans-Tasman rivalry will be rearing tonight. So I'm sure there'll be a bit of trash talk going on in the lobby beneath us here in Discord for AFR. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be a great bunch of fun.
Yeah, I think it's going to be quite interesting. Might see some interesting tactics coming into play.
Absolutely.
Khan the Big V.
Definitely a fan of the Bushrangers. We've also got, so Western Australia have only got the 2 drivers available for tonight. We've got one from South Australia in Apollo Pepsi, and each of New South Wales, Queensland, Victoria and New Zealand have about 5 or 6 drivers each. So they'll be alternating. It'll be a maximum of 4 drivers per team per race, and each driver must race at least twice tonight of our 4 races. Just waiting for everyone to ready up with their race strategy. There should be 1 pit stop. It'll be 25% distance, so expect there to be, about 20 laps or so here at Canada. Be pitting roughly, I don't know, they start on the softs, be about lap 8 or 9, we'd expect, but strategy is not going to be too much of a part of it, I don't think. It's mainly just going to be who can survive and get some points for their state.
Yeah, surviving turn 1 and keeping your front wing intact, especially around circuits like this with the Wall of Champions. So, yeah, game on.
Absolutely. Following Mikau as he goes through. And we've got Matsia Dabri in Queensland colours. But Seb, the highest ranked Victorian on the grid. Combined also from New South Wales, Apollo Pepsi, South Australia. London from Queensland, Trin from WA, Mickey from New Zealand, Potsy from Victoria, and Batemate from New South Wales. So good start for New South Wales, getting 3 in the top 10.
Interesting. The from 12th down, all starting on the mediums, everybody else on the softs.
Absolutely. So New South Wales a bit at a disadvantage here. So they've got 3 drivers qualifying in the top 10. So they do have track position, but all on the soft tyres that they qualified on. It's just Peter at the back, crashing out there on his hot lap, starting at the very back of the grid on the mediums. So a lot of the other teams able to split the strategy a little bit. Victoria running Seb and Potsy with the soft tyre, then Quantum Effect. Actually, Quantum Effect I think is ACT. There he is there with the blue and yellow livery there. And Big Al there in 18th as well for Victoria, running the medium tyre. So drivers form up on the grid here at Circuit Gilles Villeneuve in Montreal, Canada. The last couple of cars to form up on the grids. So get ready for the lights to come on for the first race of 4 tonight in the AFR State of Origin. Lights starting to come on now. The engine's rev. And they're away. Pretty decent start from Mick out the front. We've got a bit of ghosting happening a bit behind. The leaderboard, as usual, goes completely cactus. We've got a few cars going 2-3 wide into the first corner, but they keep it pretty clean so far. Do have 3 wide. Looks like there's one of the New South Wales and Victoria and Queensland cars side by side, but they're pretty clean as they go into the run into turn 4. Still side by side, but keeping it very tidy. Oh, a bit of contact there. Big Al takes the inside of the curb and a bit of a half spin, but keeps pointing the right way. So have a bit of a run down to the next fast chicane. Mikau's got a pretty decent lead now from Matsia Dabri. Gap's not pulled out too much, so it does look like Batemate's had a little bit of pressure behind him as they go through the hairpin. Got Jacob Meister just sitting outside the top 10. Apollo Pepsi having a bit of a look at Seb as they come into the chicane before the Wall of Champions. And a couple wide as well. A bit further back. Peter's all the way up to 14th already, so he's had a great start from last on the grid. Big Al's already in the pit, so he must have picked up some wing damage pretty early on. We've got a car around. Oh yes, that's Trin. Oh, we've got Mazatrin has gone round to turn 3. And yeah, the Ferrari driver from Tier 1 of AFR has dropped all the way down to 19th, so he was running quite well in the top 10. Must have been a little bit of contact there. And the West Australian has dropped outside the top 10. Saxa is the lead driver for that state, up in P11. Watching at the front, Matsia Dabri is stuck with Mikau pretty well. Seb's dropped off a little bit. He's got Apollo Pepsi for company just behind. But a great strong start from the New South Welshman. And the Queenslander showing good pace as well. Peter sizing up Saxa for Western Australia. Got a great tow. He's all the way up to 12th, so he's done very well to get that far up the grid. So Mika Nutt changing places, the 2 Kiwis, down in 13th and 14th. Peter's got the inside line on the run into turn 1, gets the move done pretty cleanly. The West Australian sticking his nose on the inside. But he has to yield the position. Peter's just got too much grip on that outside line and is now the lead medium runner. So he's got his eyes well set on the soft runners off the top 10. And that's been a great start from him. Jumping a little bit further back, Simdogger in a bit of trouble there, the Victorian. Going backwards a little bit. There's Trin making up some ground after that early spin. So sort of battle group formed from 15th down. And the front of the field spread out a little bit. As you see T-Mac from Queensland going around the outside of Trin, trying to defend. So we've got DRS enabled now. T-Mac making a move on his fellow Queenslander. Oh, and Trin has to get right out of throttle there. He's actually hit the wall. Trin has hit the wall.
He's lost some end plate there.
Yeah, just saw it bounce off. I don't think he hit the wall. I think he's actually clipped one of the other cars in front of him.
Yeah,
one of the Queenslanders, I think, possibly the Victorian of Simdogger. They're still going side by side.
Simdogger as well, missing some end plate. On the right front, I believe.
Light, so it's 25% of the full race distance. So 50% is 36 and 25% is 18. Yeah, Trin looks like he's
Sachs has gone around.
Sachs has gone around, the Western Australian.
I think he's picked up some wing damage.
He's lost his right end plate. A terrible start to the race for the Western Australians. This is not what they need. They've only got the 2 drivers, so they need every point they can get. And now they're both running 18th and 19th as Trin actually goes through on his teammate.
He will have to pit this lap. And I'll also mention Big Al really making up a lot of time at the moment. Only last lap was 17 seconds off the lead. That's down to, the car in front, down to 13 seconds now.
Absolutely, and Peter in the top 10 has made 10 positions up since the start of the race. He's done very well.
WA double stacking. I don't know if it'll work out like that, but no, it doesn't.
No, because obviously because this is the multiplayer car, the game doesn't quite know which team they're all meant to be a part of, so it'll just give them any old pit box, which is very fortunate for them in this case. So they don't have to double stack, but it does mean that you could share a pit bay with someone from a completely different state, and that could ruin your strategy.
Big Al well in front of Trin and Saxa at the moment. 10 seconds clear.
He's got a few penalties towards back. We've got Jacob Meister and Simdogger both picking up 3-second penalties. In such a tight field, that's going to hurt you a little bit. Thank you very much to Z-Dog Live for the follow, as Matthew Dabry also picks up a second, and we've got our first of our leaders has pit. Mikau has come into the pits. He's getting the medium tyres. Yes, Ali, thank you every week, pointing out that Big Al is in fact his brother. And he's doing very well. And actually, I think you guys are actually racing together a bit later on this evening, so it'd be great to see you two do well. Maybe even get on the podium together for Victoria. It's Mikau. Just see how bunched up the field is at the moment. He's come out of the pits in 12th place from the lead, so he's lost 11 positions with that pit stop. So he's going to hope that everyone in front of him pits as well, and he doesn't get stuck in too much traffic.
Yeah, the undercut here is very, very strong.
So he has come out in a little bit of clean air. He's got the New Zealand car of Mika just in front of him, also on the medium, so it shouldn't be too hard to get past him. In fact, we've got Mickey and Jacob in front of him as well, also from New Zealand, so doing pretty well at the moment, New Zealanders. Only Nut outside the points as well as Mika. Very well done from them so far. Going to jump a bit further up the field. We've got a little bit of a battle brewing here. Matthew Dabry is clear of 3.5 seconds to see if he'll rack to Mikau, and he does. He comes into the pits now, and as do most of the other leaders. So we'll have to keep an eye on these pit stops to see if anyone's held up. Combined YouTuber from New South Wales inherits the lead. We've got Peter as well, now up to P3 on those medium tyres. I don't think
we've had a collision at the final chicane. I think that was Baymate and possibly T-Mac. I'm not too sure. I think Jacob Meister was involved in that as well. He's missing a lot of his front wing on the right-hand side.
Jacob Meister, one of the last of the soft runners to pit as well, so that's going to hurt him quite badly as Trin sets the fast slappable race to 111.2, as we've got a big dive bomb from the Victorian of Potsy on Psycho. Psycho trying to hold it on the inside of the next corner, but doesn't quite have the grip compared to Potsy, who's just come out of the pits then. And jump a bit further up, it looks like Quantum Effect and Baitmate going side by side into the hairpin. But the Canberran and the New South Welshman battling it out. Looks like Quantum Effect has got the DRS. He should be able to pull in front of Baitmate. Baitmate looks like he may be pitting. He's positioned his car there. Just avoids the collision. Very nicely done. Goes straight on into the pits. Oh, Baitmate is speeding into the pits. Too fast into the pits there. We've got a few other drivers coming to the pits as well. And we should see pretty much all those pit stops finish round about now. Got a few cars around that first couple of corners. Quantum Effect also gets a penalty for cutting the corner.
We've got most of the medium runners. They will be going a few laps longer, I think.
Got Mattia Dabry getting a pass on Mika at the end of the back straight there. Queenslander moving up into P3. Mikau's back up to P2, just behind his teammate Peter. Just a bit further down the field, we've got Apollo Pepsi storming through the field again. He's up to P12 in the South Australian car. Psycho also moving up in the Queensland car. Victorian of Simdog are moving backwards a little bit. He has still on those medium tyres he started the race with. It should last a few more laps, but he's definitely losing that track position. He's still trying to hang it in there. There's a little bit of contact there between him and Psycho, but he does end up having to yield the position. Mikau sets the fastest lap of the race now with 1 minute 10.847. So Simdog is coming back at Psycho a little bit, who has to cut the chicane slightly, picks up another penalty. Canada is obviously one of those tricky tracks for track limits. A little bit of a battle group at the moment for P5. We've got T-Mac of Queensland defending from the Victorian of Seb, who's made he's made a big move, try to go on the inside there. And he backs out at the last second. Seb, obviously a former full-time driver at AFR, making an appearance here for the Bushrangers. Quantum Effect in the ACT car a little bit further back. He's dropping off this little battle group. Let's see if Seb can get the run into the hairpin. T-Mac defends to the inside. Seb tries the outside line, switches back. Queenslander runs very wide, and Seb gets a great run out. He should get DRS as well. T-Mac is sitting back here. He's actually got past him before the DRS zone, so great little move there by Seb.
And behind Potsy and Combined.
Yeah, they're side by side running into the chicane as well. Little lock up from Potsy, but he gets the move done cleanly. Combined drops down to 9th place.
Simdog are coming into the pits. I would expect Mika and PTR and Quantum Effect to be coming in the next couple of laps, possibly even this lap.
Well, we saw most of the soft runners push those tyres for about 7 or 8 laps, so now would be about the perfect time to do it. So we've got Potsy getting past Quantum Effect. Seb up in P4 as well. A little bit of a gap behind.
Penalties starting to roll in now.
So we go, Peter has come into the pits, so after going from last to first, comes in to get those mediums replaced with fresh soft tyres. We'll see whereabouts he trickles back onto the field.
Mika stays out, T-Mac pits.
Got a little battle there, looks like Apollo Pepsi trying to make a move on Pondon into turn 1. They go side by side through turn 2. Pondon stays just in front. He's got the inside line. Going to go side by side. He gives him space, but Pondon going all 4 wheels onto the curb. Eventually has to yield the position to Pepsi. And Peter's come out of the pits in P10, so great work from him. Going long has meant that he's come out in 10th position. New South Wales now with 3 cars in the top 10.
PTR make a move on Pondon as well.
Yeah, it made it look so easy. Those soft tyres are going to help him absolutely chew through the field now. So PBR's coming back at Pepsi. He gets the move done on the straight. He runs to the pits. And he now moves up to P8, jumping up to Potsy, and Combined. Looks like Mika has pit, as has Quantum Effect from Canberra. And Victorian's doing very well. Got a third and fourth position at the moment. The baitmate for New South Wales as well, just 1.2 seconds outside the top 10. Could New South Wales get 4 cars into the top 10? That'd be a great result for them. Closer to Potsy. He's under a fair bit of pressure now as it comes to the final chicane. Just a couple of tenths separate them. And Peter as well, not too far behind either, as Nutt picks up a second 3-second penalty. And Big Al comes into the pits. Can't quite stretch his mediums to the end. Looks like he might be trying to go for the fastest lap on the softs, try and take that point away from the leaders. Pondon also picking up a 3-second penalty. Peter taking a second out of his teammate this lap alone. He's right on the back of him. They're going to have to do a switcheroo now. Those fresh soft tyres are just going to be too quick for combines. And yeah, he does let his teammate through on the inside of the hairpin. Now he sets his eyes forward to Potsy. So only got a 7/10 gap to the cars behind. Seb, I think, is going to be safe. There's only 5 laps to go. And Mikau already 5 seconds clear of Mattia Dabry in the Queensland car for P2. So a little bit further back as Pondon's coming back at the South Australian of Apollo Pepsi. With DRS going into turn 1. He's has a little think about it and a bit of a lock-up as well. He's able to hold on a little bit further back as well. Mickey getting close to the back of baitmate for New South Wales. Not quite close enough this time around. And jump on board with Potsy again. Gap's only 4/10 to Peter behind in New South Wales. Victorian under a lot of pressure to keep the car behind. I don't think with his medium tyres there's going to be much defence as Jacob picks up a 3-second penalty as well. Oh, Mikau's picked up a 3-second penalty as well, but I think that's how Dabry got one a while ago, so it shouldn't hurt him at this stage. I wonder if Peter's tyres are starting to fade a little bit. He hasn't been able to make up as much ground on Potsy as I'd expect him to.
Well, they will be getting to the end of their life, so they definitely won't be as fast as they were before. And being a 25% race, the degradation will be higher.
And Potsy is a very good defender as well, so he just has to make it that slightly bit more difficult for Peter. That should help overheat his tyres and hang on to this 4th position. So just have a look at the state of the field at the moment. We've got Mikau New South Wales in P1, Mattia Dabry of Queensland in P2, Seb of Victoria in 3rd, same as Potsy 4th, New South Wales and Peter in combined in 5th and 6th, Apollo Pepsi of South Australia in 7th, Pondon of Queensland in 8th, Batemate of New South Wales in 9th. Or as he defends pretty aggressively to the inside, blocks Peter's move there. But I think he should be able to get him here on the straight.
He just needs to keep him behind for as long as he can. And then if he does get past, he just needs to stay within 3 seconds.
Yeah, I think that block has actually helped him. He pulled out about 4/10 going through that hairpin there because of that move. And it's made it a little bit more difficult. Peter's only 2/10 behind now, so you see Potsy moving across to the left initially. He's not quite close enough to get it done. Peter, of course, does have at least a 3-second penalty, so Potsy doesn't have to defend as hard.
3.
Just 3, was it?
Yeah, just on 3 at the moment, as well as combined behind. But Apollo Pepsi as well, 2.2 behind at the moment.
Absolutely. So he's, if he can get within 3 seconds of Peter as well, he'll jump from 7th to 5th for South Australia, and as South Australia's sole driver tonight, that'll be absolutely massive for his points tally. So we've got a little battle a bit further down the field. We've got Psycho and Simdogger going side by side into the first couple of corners. And it looks like Simdogger from Victoria has got past the Queenslander of Psycho. And jump back up the field as Potsy again defends into the hairpin from the New South Welshman of Peter. Just a couple of tenths now. Surely he's too close now. I don't think either have got much ERS. As, yeah, Peter does go for the inside. There's a little bit of contact, and the Victorian has to cut the chicane. Is Peter going to give the spot back? It did not look like he was able to make the corner. It doesn't look like he has, but I don't know if Potsy will care too much. He's just got to stay within 3 seconds, and he'll get that spot back. But it did look like a bit of a desperate lunge from the New South Welshman. But look at that, he's already pulled out 7 tenths.
Lap 17 of 18, he needs to make a gap of 3 seconds.
And we've got Big Al getting past the New Zealander of Jacob Meister. And into turn 1. We've got a bit of a battle for P9 as well. Click on the right car. The bait mate from New South Wales defending from Team Mac of Queensland. New Zealand just behind as well. Yeah, Potsy's already dropped outside that DRS range in P5. And Peter now 1.2 seconds behind Seb. As Mikau starts the final lap of the race. Peter now within DRS of Seb. Victorian running very well in P3. Just going to drop a little bit further back. We've got T-Mac about to make a move on Baitmate for P9. Gets him into turn 1 pretty comfortably. Good pass for the Queenslander. They've now got 3 cars in the top 10. Baitmate just hanging on for that final point. Jump a bit further up.
I'm not too sure how they're going to go because Mika is right behind them with no penalties at the moment.
Absolutely, so got to keep an eye on him. Apollo Pepsi as well. Looks like he may make a bit of a jump. Thank you so much for the follow. Paycat Mamela 10. Follow Mikau as he crosses the finish line to win the first race tonight of State of Origin for New South Wales. It's followed about 7 seconds behind by Mattia Dabry of Queensland. And Seb just outside that 3 second mark will come home for Victoria in P3, just ahead of Peter, and P4 for New South Wales. And Potsy jumps up to 4th for Victoria as well. Combined comes across to 6th, and Pepsi jumps up to 5th place for South Australia. Pondon 8th for Queensland. T-Mac as well, defending from Baitmate. Comes across the line in 9th place. Baitmate jumps him. P9. We've got Mickey of New Zealand comes across in 12th. Quantum Effect. Oh, we've got a few jumpers around here. Mika's 9th. Baitmate's 10th. T-Mac 11th. Quantum Effect 12th. Mickey 13th. Big Al 14th. Jacob Meister 15th. A little bit of a battle for 16th. Further down the field. As we've got Trin, Simdogger, Psycho, then Nut and Saxa across the line. I wouldn't be surprised if Peter gets driver of the day, starting last and finishing P6, and he does in fact get it. Well done to him. And we see Mikau there, P1, Matsia Dabry P2 for Queensland, and Seb P3 for Victoria. So pretty straightforward race for Mikau. Decided to pit a little bit early, got in a little gap, and was able to do a pretty decent undercut on Matsia Dabry as well. So we've got Potsy and P4, Apollo Pepsi of South Australia in P5. And we've got Peter of New South Wales in P6. Combined also of New South Wales in P7. Followed by Pondon of Queensland in P8. Mika of New Zealand in P9. And then we had Batemate of New South Wales in P10 to round out our grid for race 1. A great race there from New South Wales, getting first, getting 6th, 7th and 10th. We had Victoria as well getting 3rd and 4th. Queensland getting 2nd and 8th. New Zealand picking up P9 as well. And South Australia, Pepsi, great showing in P5. Alrighty, we're going to take a very short break of a couple of minutes while we get the lobby ready for the next race. We'll see you shortly. Stick around. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. We're just loading up the Hungary session for race number 2 of Aussie Formula Racing State of Origin Special. So currently having first place New South Wales with 40 points, Victoria second place with 27, Queensland third place with 22, South Australia fourth place with 10, and New Zealand fifth place with 2 points. No points currently for Western Australia after both of their drivers sustained damage pretty early on in the race at Canada. We have Mick Gow leading currently on 25, followed by Matsiad Dabri of Queensland in second with 18th, with 18 points, I should say. Third place is Seb from Victoria with 15 points. We're just loading into the session now for one-shot quali here at Hungary. Of course, dynamic weather. We do not know what the conditions will be. It looks like it's nice and sunny. Yes, Seb, I did like that very much. Do love seeing a Victorian on the podium. So just wait for the drivers to load their preset setups. And here we go. Coming on board now with Sid for New South Wales on the right into turn one. You can see on the live leaderboard to our left, we've actually got Fever, I think is on the medium tyre. Wow, that's interesting. See Wahid Carroll. It's a bit hard to keep up with the jostling live leaderboard at the moment. On your left, it shows the current leaders. Sid, a great first sector. Look at that, New South Wales first, second and third briefly then. Pretty tidy through the chicane, sector 2, as Lights has crashed out. Queenslander actually having a bit of trouble there. Start of the second sector. Trin for Western Australia currently in second place. Tossling with the New South Welshman there. Sid, very strong showing here. And if I do recall, I think he did very well in Tier 1 last season for Red Bull, I believe. But had a bit of trouble at turn 1. A bit of an incident, I recall, with some of the front runners. Sid comes across the line and does go pole, followed by combined Trin, Apollo, Pepsi, Quantum Effect, Hero, Potsy, Pond and Fever, Saxic, Psycho, T-Mac, Nut, Ali and Mr. Spicer. 4 drivers invalidating on their runs. Great lap there from Sid. Absolutely smashed it for New South Wales.
Yeah, I think he was in front pretty much every sector.
Yeah, great job from him. And we'll just confirm that. Fever actually getting into the top 10 on the medium tyre for New Zealand. So great showing from him. So that'll open up the strategy a bit compared to the others who'll be starting on the soft. And yeah, I think let's see the teams. It's got 2 New South Welshmen in the top 10. Both Western Australians getting in. Apollo Pepsi for South Australia getting 4th as well. Great showing from him. Quantum Effect for ACT also getting in there for P5. New Zealand got a couple of cars with Hero and Fever. Victoria only has Potsy in the top 10. And yeah, we saw a couple of Queenslanders outside the top 10 there, as well as I think a couple of Kiwis as well. So bit of a mixed grid. We'll see how we go. Definitely keep an eye on Fever as well with those medium tyres off the start.
Yeah, I think if he can maintain position at the start, I think he'll be in for a very, very strong result.
Yeah, absolutely. Looks like we've got a clear race as well, so that'll help Fever's strategy. So we just wait for the drivers to confirm their strategy and fuel loadouts. We will have a formation lap as well, so we'll have a bit of time just to see what the strategy is for those outside the top 10. Be interesting as well to see whether or not the drivers have any issues with tyre temperatures being presets. It's a little bit more tricky to manage them temperature-wise on what is a bit of a demanding track here at Hungary. Often described as Monaco without the walls. Here we go, just waiting the last couple of drivers to load up. And they're off on their formation lap. So let's have a look at the tyre choices. And a bit more variety compared to last time. So we've got Fever obviously qualified on the mediums. But we've got Psycho, Nut, Mr. Spicer, Mick Gow and Jacob opting to start outside the top 10 on the soft tyre. And we've got T-Mac, Ali, Big Al, Wahid and Lights opting for the mediums. So a bit of variety. I expect similar kind of thing we saw with Peter starting on the mediums, so should run pretty long into the race, and as long as they can stay out of trouble, should be able to charge back through the field on the softs.
Yeah, they'll have the advantage at the end of the race. So again, another 18-lap race.
So we've got a front row lockout for New South Wales with Sid and Combined. We've got the Western Australian of Trin, the South Australian of Pepsi. In the second row, Ken Barron of Quantum Effect, and the New Zealander of Hero on the third row. Potsy the Victorian, Pondon the Queenslander on the fourth row. And on the fifth row we've got FIBA, the New Zealander, and Saxa, the Western Australian. Got a complete Queensland sixth row of the grid. We've got a New Zealander and a Victorian of Nut and Ali on the seventh row. Got a New South Welshman and Victorian as well of Big Al, who's got a slightly different shade of blue on the eighth row. Ninth row, New South Welshman of Mikau. Very disappointing qualifying. He must have invalidated his lap. And we've got the KB of Jacob Meister as well there. And then a final row of the grid, Victorian of Wahid and the Queenslander of Lights. They form up on the grid. We get ready to start the second race of Aussie Formula Racing State of Origin here at the Hungaro Ring in Budapest, Hungary. The lights start to come on, the engines rev. And they're away. Pretty decent start from most people. Looks like the New South Wales and Mr. Splice have got a bit of a decent start. They spread so wide. There's 4 or 5 cars a bit further back, wide. So they come into the first corner. Looks like they'll keep it pretty tidy. Don't see any wing flying. A couple of ghost cars in there as well. They get through there without too much trouble. So it's Psycho and Mikau going side by side. Further down. It's coming to the fast left-hander, which is definitely flat. Long right-hander, looks like T-Mac got forced out pretty wide there, going a bit further up to the rear. Looks like Trent's got past Combined for P2. Sid, 7/10 clear with the lead already.
Combined struggling off the start there.
New Zealand of Hero touching the grass as well. Sorry, he does nearly lost control there. He runs very deep as well. He's going to lose a spot to Quantum Effect from the ACT. Fighting it out. Quantum Effect has the advantage and holds position. Jumping a little bit further back. Looks like Nuts just been passed by Saxa. We've got a yellow flag in the final sector. Looks like Jacob Meister. Looks like Jacob Meister went around. We got
Maybe Wahid, I think.
Mikau and Psycho coming into the pits. Looks like oh, interesting. Mikau's not got wing damage. He's just chunked on the medium tyres. I wonder if they can go to the end already. Psycho has got wing damage and is getting that repaired. But that's a very interesting move from Mikau to pit on the end of the first lap.
Yeah, I think that might backfire towards the end of the race. He'll have good pace now, but yeah, we'll see.
Unless, of course, he didn't set for his wing to be replaced. He may have made a mistake there, or he may know something that we don't up here in the commentary box.
I don't see any wing damage.
Again, Apollo Pepsi getting past Combined. Ooh, a little bit of contact there, and the New South Welshman goes off the track. And Apollo Pepsi holds third position now. Behind as well, Combined under pressure from Potsy of Victoria. New South Welshman going backwards. Must have had a pretty average start.
Yeah, maybe he didn't quite get his tyres up to temperature, but yeah, he's just been going backwards since the lights went out.
Potsy goes for a big dive into turn 1, and again, Combined loses out. He's trying to come back at him into turn 2 and 3. Tries it on the inside, but Potsy just squeezes him out. turn 4. A little bit of battle happening for P7 at the moment. Quantum Effect just 1/10 in front of FIBA of New Zealand. Train forming. We've got FIBA though right on the back of Quantum Effect. Should have DRS this time around. He's got a great exit out of the final corner. The New Zealander heading past the Canberran. Moves up into P7. So there's now 3 New Zealanders in the top 10. They've had a great start to the race so far. And they're sitting down at the moment in P5 with just 2 points. Trend from Western Australia in P2 at the moment, hoping to get some points, the first points for the night for Western Australia, as Mikau sets the fastest lap of the race. It's got a fair bit of clean air at the moment, as Seb pointed out in the comments. Bit of smart play if you're in traffic, pit a bit early, get some clean air, and as long as your tyres can last the distance, it should keep you out of trouble. Looks like there's a bit of a train forming behind Nut for 10th. So twist through sector 2. I think he's basically acting as a rear gunner. Hero and FIBA, also of New Zealand, doing very well at the moment. You see them all just scatter trying to get some clean air behind Nut, who's well known for being having a very wide car. It's going to be very difficult through that middle sector for the cars behind to get through.
Up pits.
And he comes in, yep. Did he have any wing damage, or is this just an early pit stop?
I think he's just making the call. I think the SOS have just gone off. I don't think they're going to last very long around here.
Just going to have a look at Ali, who almost had a move on his brother into turn 1. Hero picks up the first penalty of race 2. 3-second penalty for cutting the track. Also, Trin's tyres have gone off a bit as well. He's fallen off the back of Sid by about 2 seconds, but he's got a train forming behind him as well. Apollo Pepsi all over the back of him in the South Australian car. Lights of Queensland picks one up here as well, yeah.
Psycho as well.
Yeah, we start to see a few cars come into the pits now. We see Sid of New South Wales, Trent of Western Australia, Polly Pepsi of South Australia, Potsy Victoria stays out. Will inherit the lead. Combined YouTuber of New South Wales pits as well. As Quantum Effect of ACT and Pondon of Queensland. And I think that was Saxa staying out as well, so Western Australia decided to split the strategy, go a bit longer with the other car. So just have the 3 drivers who started on the softs yet to pit. Mr. Spicer down at 19th, opting for the hard tyres. Ooh, jumping a little bit further back, Saxa looks like he's getting swamped by the Victorians of Big Al and Ali.
Mikau just making the move on Sid.
Yeah, I wonder if that was orchestrated, perhaps. Mikau.
Well, Sid on cold tyres as he's just coming out of the pits.
Yeah, we'll have to see if they reverse again a bit later on, if Mikau can't make any gains on those cold tyres. Oh, so the Queensland car of T-Mac running. So I think that was Lights running very wide there. FIBA has Potts is coming to the pits, as has Hero, and in comes Saxa as well. So FIBA has taken the lead of the race for New Zealand. with Big Al of Victoria in P2, Ali of Victoria P3, T-Mac of Queensland 4th, and Lights of Queensland in P5. So Mikau's currently up to P7, has jumped everyone who's been on the soft tyre. So that very early undercut has reaped dividends for the moment for track position, but how his tyre life goes throughout the rest of the race, still got 11 laps to go. Thank you so much for the follow, Jackson with an X. Pretty sure it's Jason with an X, but anyway, we'll move on.
Decent train behind Ali at the moment.
Yeah, he runs very wide, obviously under a fair bit of pressure. Those medium tyres, well, given how early people have been pinning on the softs, would expect them to last a good 14-15 laps thereabouts. Just have to wait and see when he pulls the trigger. So got Feber and Big Al in front as well. Feber, 7.5 seconds clear of Big Al. I think he's going to be pushing pretty hard on those medium tyres at the moment. Let's just have a quick look and see if we can get some information about the gap to Mikau. What's that? 4.5 is T-Mac and Ali went wheel to wheel into turn 1. So Mikau's about 15 seconds behind Fever for the lead. Pit stop here is about 25 seconds, so that will put Fever about 10 seconds behind Mikau when he pits. With those fresh soft tyres, if he hasn't got too much traffic, he may be able to push him pretty hard towards the end on those old mediums.
Yeah, well, the softs are only going to have, 3, 4, maybe 5 laps of pace in them, so
yeah,
you'll want to be flying on them.
Pepsi currently battling with combines down for P11. Jump up to Ali now. He's got T-Mac just 2 tenths behind him, goes immediately to the pit wall to defend. He may be in a bit of trouble here. The Queenslander moves back to the outside. Gets a bit of a squeeze from Ali. Gets a switch back over the curb as Ali runs a bit deep. Oh, and a bit of a wibble, and he's gone. T-Mac is gone. He's lost his wing. I just saw that. He had a little bit of a wobble there.
I wasn't on board, so I don't know if there was any contact.
I think there might have been. It looked like under acceleration that T-Mac had just lit up the rears a little bit, overcorrected, hit the tyre of Ali, and then spun around. I'll just bring up the replay now. Hopefully we've got a little bit of that. Yeah, we saw Ali go very defensive. T-Mac came back to the outside, broke early, switched back across the curb, and you can just see here, he just lights the rears up a little bit and a bit of a wobble, and as he corrects back to the centre of the track, he's just clipped the rear tyre of Ali and spun around into the wall. So very unfortunate, but I think it's nothing more than a racing incident. I'm just going to jump a little bit further back. Hero has got past combined YouTuber, who's still, he's doing okay, but as Seb says, he's literally in his head. I think there's a bit of trash talk going on in the lobby below. Just going to jump up a little bit higher. Mikau now passing Wahid for P5. The New South Welshman coming back through the fields. It's caught up to the drivers who have started on the medium tyres. We reached lap 10 of this race. As you see T-Mac coming to the pits, it's dropped all the way down to P19. Very unfortunate for Queensland. They do have Lights running in P4 at the moment, but Pondon and Psycho both well outside the points at the moment. So it's very unfortunate for the Maroons.
Mikau all over the back of Lights at the moment. Nice helmet there, Mikau, by the way.
Jumping a little bit further back, looks like Wahid and Sid battling it out for P6. Hopefully went side by side through the twisty section of Sector 2.
Fever's in the pits.
Alright, they reckon they can go 7 laps on the softs.
Big Al also in the pits.
It's a bit of a stretch though, but those mediums must have died, but that doesn't send a good signal to Mikau though, who's now pushed his mediums to 8 laps.
I wonder if they're going to go onto the hards.
Possibly. We see...
No, they've put on the soft tyre.
Queenslander of Lights defending hard against Mikau of New South Wales, but to no avail. Mikau goes up to P2 now. Very late on the brakes there from Mikau. As Queenslander comes back and he touches that concrete curb and around he goes into the wall. Cannot touch those concrete curbs at all here at Hungary. You will just spin your car around. You saw Lights just stuck his nose in a little bit too far and around he went, and this is just turning into a race to forget for Queensland, as now all 4 of their drivers are outside of the points.
You know what I say, too much curb can equal too much wall.
Yes, as you remind me far too often in iRacing.
Yes.
That is true. So you got the South Australian Apollo Pepsi getting passed by Fever of New Zealand through the twisty section. He's on those fresh soft tyres and he just had so much more grip. Well, you don't often see cars get past there, and that was a great move from the New Zealander. Apollo Pepsi didn't have much of an answer there on his medium tyres. Fever storming back through the field. Got to watch him. He is about 5 to 10 seconds behind Mikau now.
Ali in the pits.
So we saw Big Al come out of the pits in P14. Expect Ali roughly the same. Lights is also in the pits to get that wing repaired. As T-Mac has retired, he's lost it just before the hairpin. And will we see a safety car?
I don't think we will.
Virtual safety car.
Virtual safety car.
Okay. So this is neutralising the whole field. So I'm sure the Queenslanders will not be happy with this virtual safety car. They would have much preferred a full one just to bust the field up again. Mikau has taken the lead. So he's now 7/10 clear of his teammate Sid from New South Wales. Wahid's currently in 3rd, yet to pit off those medium tyres that he started the race on, as Nut has got a drive-through penalty for New Zealand for speeding under virtual safety car as we get the green flag to resume racing. So Nut is currently down in 17th, so it won't affect New Zealand's points chances too much, but still frustrating for Nut, who's done fairly well earlier on in the race, defending as we saw. So Wahid has got a bit of a train forming now. He's probably going to come to the pits. And he does. Get rid of those medium tyres. Just watching Fever. So up to P6 on those softs. He's got a great exit again. Potsy's just in front of him. And he moves up to P4. And he's just a couple of seconds behind Mikau. Could he be on for the win here for New Zealand after scoring only 2 points in the first race?
Well, he does need to make sure he can get these soft tyres to the end.
Yeah, he's got a long way to make them last.
And a big lock up there on the left front.
Certainly not going to help the tyre wear there. He sets a purple sector in the first sector. He's going to jump a little bit further back. Pondon has got Big Al all over the back of him. The Queenslander touching the grass there, the exit of turn 4. And holds on for P11. Jumping further up, we've got Trin. No, Saxa. Saxa's got Ali all behind him as well. And those fresh soft tyres. I don't know if anyone's going to be brave enough to pass there. Big Al, just 2/10 behind Pondon. Positions his car nicely in the middle of the track. Stops the Victorian being able to get through. But he's got so much more grip in the exit. Pondon goes to the outside to block. And Big Al makes it through nicely at the hairpin. Thank you very much for the follow, Stephen Martin. Got Saxa defending from Ali. Pondon's actually trying to get back at Big Al into turn 1. He had the DRS. Gave him that extra straight line speed, but he just doesn't have the tyre grip to be able to make it work. As Ali has got past Saxa from Western Australia. White sets the fastest lap of the race with a 1:17.586. Feber now just 2/10 behind Trin for P3. Will he get onto the podium? There's 4 laps to go.
Oh, as he picks up a 3-second time
he's the
penalty.
first one of the leaders to get it.
He's locking up a lot, is Fever.
He's trying to get through this traffic. He's pushing too hard to get through the traffic, and it's just going to be hurting his tyres. And he really needs them to last for the next 4 laps, but maybe he thinks that he's got the pace to get through them with Mikhail pitting on lap 1 to get rid of those, to put on those medium tyres. Maybe he thinks he'll have a bit more grip. Setting up for a pretty fantastic finale.
He's going for
big dive into turn 1. Trin tries to cut him off, shuts the door, and the New Zealander has to back out of it. The Western Australian defending very aggressively here. They need a good result, Western Australia. They don't have any points on the board at the moment. He can't afford to get caught up in an incident, as the New Zealander just has so much more pace. He's trying to shake the toe. Can't get him here, but will he get him into the long right-hander? Oh, he nearly touches the back of the Western Australian, runs a bit deep and locks up that tyre again. Potsy's just behind him as well. He's got right up onto the back of this little train for P3. I just wonder if those tyres might be starting to go off, as Potsy is right there with him. We've got a New South Welshman around. Looks like Mr. Spicer has gone off just after the long right-hander of Sector 2. He has recovered, but he might have some hot tyres for a little bit. It's Fever now. A bit of mid-corner oversteer there. The final corner. Trin goes very defensive across the pit wall already, trying to break the toe by moving across several times, trying to break that toe, Fernando Alonso style. Fever not quite close enough this time around, and Mikhail's just getting further and further away.
Yeah, Fever's really struggling with those front brakes. He's locking up far too much.
Trin goes so defensive across the inside line into the corner. Again, locks up a little bit going into that nearly flat left-hander. And Potsy right on the back of the New Zealander. It's going to be a great battle to the finish for 3rd place. And remember, Fever does have that 3-second penalty as well. So Potts is going to want him to get out of the way, because he needs to get past that Western Australian car in front of this little battle pack. We've got just behind as well Apollo Pepsi defending for P6 from the New Zealander of Hero. We're doing pretty well. They've got 3 cars in the top 10, the New Zealanders, so they're doing a really, really good job. Another lock-up from Fever there through the hairpin.
Potsy almost pushing him through the corner at this stage.
Oh, he does push him through the final corner. A little bit of a touch there from the Victorian, and he's had enough. I think he's ready to get past him. He does have DRS though, so it's going to make it a little bit more difficult, and it looks like all of their lights flashing as they go down the pit straight. Very little ERS left in their battery. As we got just behind, it looks like Hero as well, making a move onto the South Australian. Apollo Pepsi covers the inside line and moves across to the racing line as well, just before turn 3. And we've got just behind as well, Jacob Meister getting past Combined, moving up into P8 for New Zealand, who are now running 4th, 7th and 8th. Should get a good haul of points now, provided that they can get through on penalties.
Fever's lost out to Potsy. He's run wide.
Looks like he's had a bit of an incident in that long right-hander. Potsy has got through for Victoria. He's now half a second behind Trin with just a lap and a half to go to try and get onto the podium. But so far, it's going to be a very good result for New South Wales. Mikhail currently 1st, Sid in 2nd, Combined down in 9th as well, with a couple of extra points for the team there. Just going to jump a bit further down the field. Looks like we've got a little battle for P18 between Nut of New Zealand and Psycho of Queensland. Scrapping for nothing but pride here down the back of the field.
Yeah, Fever's soft tyres are gone. The excessive weaving from Trin, trying to keep Potsy at bay.
Oh, he goes for a very late dive, but not quite far up enough. Western Australian holds position for P3 as we start the final lap. So this hasn't been a great race for Victoria. We've got Big Al's the only other car that's in the top 10. It's currently defending from the Canberra P11 of Quantum Effect. Apollo Pepsi again having a good race for South Australia in P6. Potsy all over the back of Trin in the Western Australian, and yeah, Fee was dropped off massively, almost out of DRS range. So go through sector 2. Those tyres will be screaming. It looks like Trin's going to hold on for third place. As it comes across the finish line, and that's a win for New South Wales. And Nick Howe, Sid comes across in P2, and Trent for Western Australia in third, followed by Potsy Victoria in fourth, Fever of New Zealand in fifth. It looks like there's a bit of jostling there with penalties coming through. I'll confirm that all in a second. But yeah, it was a great race. We've seen the last couple of cars to cross the finish line. We'll jump down and see if there's a little bit of battle still going on between Nut and Psycho for P18. As they go side by side through the final corner, and is Psycho going to be able to do it? They touch wheels a little bit. Oh, there's contact and they crash across the line. They crashed across the line. Oh, what a battle for the final position. I think Psycho has just come across the line ahead of Nat as Mikau gets driver of the day after failing to qualify due to invalidation. To come across the line first is a great result for him and New South Wales. Sid as well, after putting it on pole, came across the line in second. Great result for him, and Trin got points on the board for Western Australia. Comes home in third. And of course we've got Potsy in fourth place, Jacob fifth, combined sixth, Fever seventh, Poly Pepsi in eighth, Big Al in ninth, Hero 10th, Quantum Effect for ACT just outside the points in 11th, Fondant 12th, Ali 13th, Wahi 14th, Saxa 15th, Mr. Spicer 16th, and Lights and Nut in 17th and 18th, and Psycho in 19th, followed by T-Mac, who did not finish. Alright, thank you very much everyone. That was race number 2. We're going to take a short couple of minute break as we get the lobby ready for race 3. Just stick around. Thanks. Alright, welcome back ladies and gentlemen to race number 3 of Aussie Formula Racing State of Origin. We're here at Melbourne, Australia. I'll give you an update on the leaderboard. Now I've done a quick calculation of the standings, so we'll do a proper one after the race. But as it stands, Mikau leads for New South Wales with 50 points, Potsy coming second for Victoria with 24, and Mathieu Dabry third with 18. We do have as well Sid fourth on 18, but as Mathieu Dabry did his race first, he is currently leading. We also have in the state and the country standings, New South Wales leading with 91, followed by Victoria on 41. Queensland third with 22, New Zealand with 19, Western Australia fifth with 15, South Australia sixth on 14, and ACT on 7th with 0. But obviously they're only running the one driver tonight, so that is understandable. Okay. Let's follow some of these drivers around for their hot laps. So currently FIBA is leading this qualifying, followed by Mathieu Dabry of Queensland. Peter as well doing well for New South Wales in third.
I wonder if the new game is going to have the new Albert Park layout.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd hope so. I mean, they've confirmed the layout of it pretty early. The game's got a couple of months until its release date. I'd certainly hope that they would be able to do it for real, even if we don't get a Melbourne Grand Prix this year.
So Big Al's retired. So I think he lost it at the Fast Chicken.
Yeah, turn 12. We saw some casualties there during the Tier 1 and Tier 2 races. FIBA has come across the pole, followed by Mathieu Dabry of Queensland, and Seb third for Victoria. So yes, we've got FIBA for New Zealand on pole, followed by Mathieu Dabry of Queensland in P2, Seb of Victoria in third, Peter for New South Wales in fourth, followed by Sid of New South Wales as well, Hero of New Zealand, and Trent of Western Australia, followed by Pepsi of South Australia, and then Batemate and Mr. Spicer of New South Wales as well. New South Wales getting 4 drivers in the top 10. Great qualifying effort by them. We've then got Psycho, Quantum, Pondon, Ali, Simdogger, Saxa, Mika, and Mickey. Bit of a mouthful there. Then we've got Lights and Big Al rounding out our grid.
Ooh, we have a wet race.
Wet race. Well, this will spice things up a little bit. So the drivers will be very familiar with the Melbourne Grand Prix layout, but a bit of rain always spices things up just that little bit.
It looks like it'll be inters though.
Yeah, it doesn't look like full wets, but I don't know. I wonder if it's going to be wet all the way through, or if it's going to get heavier, or if it's going to dry up. So definitely bring a bit of strategy into it. And yeah, the cars that the guys aren't that familiar with driving, with setups that they're definitely not used to running, this will be very, very tricky.
Yeah, it looks like they're all on inters.
Oh, we've already got cars around on the grid.
That's
Paulo Pepsi in his tradition of spinning at Melbourne. That's usually at turn 12 that he goes round, but you know, he hasn't even made it to turn 1 yet.
Oh,
we got a few drivers that come together. Cold intermediate tyres at Melbourne. It's going to be a real great start for them.
Mr. Spicer, Quantum Effect, Simdogger, and Mika all stuck on the start-finish line.
New South Welshman, a Canberran, a Victorian, and a New Zealander spin into a bar.
I think you mean spin on the main straight in Alpha.
Yeah, absolutely. We've got another one as well. Looks like Lights is gone, Mickey's gone. So we've got a few drivers not social distancing on the track, and that's what happens.
Well, all this tells me is it's very slippery out there.
Definitely. We haven't had any weather reports, so we'll be going into this blind as well. That's the fun. Paulo Pepsi has managed to catch the back of the field, so we shouldn't be waiting too long when the drivers do start forming up on the grid. Just quick one this time. So we've got no Mikhail or Potsy in this race, who are our current leaders on points at the moment. So definitely expect Mattia Dabry of Queensland to try and capitalise on that, get some extra points. But at the moment, Mikhail's lead looking pretty difficult to catch. It's a bit more of a collision a bit further back. Hero of New Zealand getting a bit loose into the second last corner. Alright, let's start forming up on the grid. For those lights.
Oh, this is going to be an interesting start. Good luck to the guys with cold tyres.
The lights start to come on. The engine's rev. And we're away. A bit of a wiggle on the start. Very slow getaway from all the cars. Start to spread across as FIBA tries to defend against Mattia Dabry into turn 1, but Dabry has the lead. He runs onto the grass though. He's gone off. There's a New South Welshman as well getting squeezed up onto the curb. And yeah, Matt Dabry all the way down to 17th. We're going to follow FIBA at the moment. He's in the lead, but he's just behind him. We've got the two New South Welshmen of Peter and Sid going side by side into turn 3. They give each other a bit of space, and then we've got Hero of New Zealand and Apollo Pepsi of South Australia as well there, although I think that my leaderboard is starting to get a bit messed up. That's about right. Anyway, we definitely have a New Zealander in the lead, followed by 2 New South Welshmen and at least 1 or 2 other New Zealanders. I think that might actually be, that might be Seb as well, is up there. Hard to tell without the leaderboard right, but it looks like we've got a car around. Quantum Effective ACT may have gone around there. Still waiting for the leaderboard to correct itself after its usual ups.
I think it's settled down now for me.
Yeah, I guess so. It
Matt
is.
Dabry dropping all the way down to 15th.
Yeah. So it is Seb at Victoria in P4. In the wet, his car does look a lot like a New Zealand car, but yeah, he's doing well for Victoria. We've got West Australia of Trin in P5 and Hero of New Zealand in P6 with Apollo Pepsi close behind and South Australia car just behind. So some of these deltas to pop back up. FIBA's got a fair lead ahead of PTR. We do have Psycho coming to the pits for Queensland. Got some damage on that opening lap. So got a bit single file at the moment, very tricky conditions at the moment. It looks like there's basically a train from 1st down to 10th, and then another train from 11th down to about 19th. Like Mr. Spice has had a bit of an issue there.
Yeah, he's had a big moment.
Well, he's got damage as well. He's broken his end plate, and Quantum Effect of the ACT gets past. The New South Welshman looks like he's got a fair bit of wing damage there. Just stay on board with him as he goes through turns 11 and 12. Very, very tricky in the wet with wing damage going through there.
I think he might have to pit.
Yeah, looks like he's not making it too difficult for the cars behind to get through. It's very wide. Ooh, he nearly loses it on the exit curb there. So he tries to let people through. He's caught on the wrong side of the track. He's got to get back across to the outside. Oh, there's a bit of a concertina now. The Western Australian of Saxa gets caught up in that, and Lights manages to capitalise. Oh, Mr. Spicer got penalised for corner cutting as well as he came into the pits. Oh, that's a real shame. Quantum Effect may have had a bit of drama as well. Yes, he has. He's lost his right end plate, so I think he's got some damage to the exit of turn 2 on his right end plate. He's going very slowly down the straight towards turn 3. He loses the rear and he goes into the wall. He rejoins just in front of a few cars and manages to get through without any contact. But he's got
He's now missing.
Yeah, he's got
He's
no end
missing
plates.
both end plates now. Yeah.
He's got a lot of damage on that ACT car. Everyone's getting that brought in. And we'll jump up to Apollo Pepsi, who's just got past Hero. The New Zealander having a bit of an issue in the exit of turn 9, I believe that is. Apollo Pepsi again doing pretty well, gets through. New Zealander Mickey looks like he's had a bit of a drama a bit further back. And yes, he's also missing both his end plates. So Travis finding it very tricky out there. It does look like the rain's getting pretty light now though, so I wonder if we're going to be getting a bit of dry running towards the end of this race.
Only 15 laps around here at Albert Park. And no DRS assistance at the moment.
Oh, as Apollo Pepsi nearly loses the rear of the car in the exit of turn 2. Just lit up the rears on the exit curb, but keeps it under control. And pointing in the right direction. As Mickey picks up a 5-second penalty for speeding into the pits. Oh, his Hero runs out so wide. The exit of turn 4. Fever's in control of this race at the moment. He's got a 2-second lead ahead of the New South Welshman of Peter and Sid. And then there's about 2.8-second gap back to the Victorian of Seb.
Hero almost going off there.
I think he might have a little bit of lag as well. He's rubber banding a little bit for me.
Yeah.
Jump onto another car. Just looks like Mr. Spicer and Quantum Effect are battling into turn 3 for P18.
Oh, he's lost it. He's lost it. It's collected. He's collected.
Oh, Hero is in the wall. Pondon is damaged as well.
Yeah.
Pondon has lost his left end plate. Looks like Hero's got some damage as well. Pondon goes off the track.
To be honest, lucky not to be taken out of this race because he hit him pretty much at full tilt.
Pondon defending very aggressively from his teammate. He's got wing damage. He should just be letting his teammate through.
I think he was just fighting for that side of the track.
Yeah, Hero coming into the pits with some wing damage as well. And yeah, another unfortunate couple of incidents that the Queenslander drivers have got caught up in. Hero gets that front wing replaced.
I think Apollo Pepsi is slowly starting to catch Trin at the moment.
Yeah, the gap's dropped down to about 1.7 seconds, and it's dropping pretty rapidly as well. I'm just going to jump on board with Trin. He doesn't have any damage, but yeah, he's also caught the back of Seb as well, so I think Seb's the one who's really struggling at the moment. The gap's blown out to 4.3 seconds between him and Sid. He's just finding a little bit of trouble in these tricky wet conditions. Still is raining though, so I don't know if we'll be seeing dry conditions anytime soon.
10 laps to go.
Dabbery closing up on the back of Big Al. Victorian having to defend a little bit on the straights from the Queenslander. For the yellow flag, Mickey has gone off at turn 12. New Zealander crashing at that infamous corner, and we have a safety car, full safety car.
Full safety
car has been deployed.
I wonder if anyone's going to pit.
I imagine they would, unless they know that there's dry weather coming in the next couple of laps. Oh, look at all the cars
Ooh,
getting
we've got a couple of
penalties.
speeding under the safety car.
So I think Simdog, I didn't quite see who the first driver was.
I think it was Hero.
So safety car's there just after turn 2. Interesting to see what FIBA does. I imagine that they'll be able to chuck on the inters to the end from here. It's just whether or not they're expecting any dry conditions in the next few laps. And they just want to hang on because they don't want to lose that track position. And watch him. He's staying out. Interesting. Is anyone pitting? We do have Sid coming into the pits for New South Wales. But both Peter and FIBA have stayed out. We've got Seb and Trin pitting as well. Apollo Pepsi. Oh, FIBA and Peter made the right choice there. And they got picked up by the safety car. Who else have we got staying out? Looks like Big Al for Victoria staying out. Same as Matsia Dabri staying out. Ali from Victoria staying out by the looks of it. And it looks like he's just out in front of Seb. Oh wait, who was that? I think that was Lapcar. A very interesting decision from those front few cars. So Sid has actually jumped out in front of Ali, who didn't pit. Okay, so Potts is saying that Inters should go to the end of the race from the start in a 25%er, so...
Yeah, but there's 6 laps of tyre life advantage there. I'm guessing that will be significant towards the end.
Well, Sid has lost 3 positions by pitting, so he lost to... Oh, actually he was 3rd, so he's only lost a couple of positions out of this, so he probably didn't have much to lose. I think Peter being in that P2 definitely have more to lose by pitting. So the current position, so we've got FIBA of New Zealand is the only Kiwi in the top 10. We've got 3 New South Welshmen still in the top 10 of Peter, Sid and Batemate. Queensland just has Matsia Dabri in the top 10. Victoria have got Ali, Big Al and Seb. Western Australia just running Trin as Hero has left the session. Hopefully he's able to rejoin. And Apollo Pepsi still sitting on the top 10 as well with 2 points there in P9. So just about another 8 laps to go after this one. So hopefully we'll see the safety car in at the end of this lap. Just waiting for the rest of the field to bunch up a little bit. Shouldn't be much longer.
I suspect it'll go around another time.
Alright, well, I'll run through the current standings at the moment for the states. So we've got New South Wales is currently leading with 91 points, Victoria second with 41, Queensland is 3rd with 22, New Zealand 4th with 19, Western Australia 5th with 15, South Australia 6th with 14 and ACT 7th with 0. Looks like all the cars except for Heroes AI have caught the safety car train. And it is in this lap,
It is in this lap.
Okay, that's good. Get back racing pretty quickly. Follow FIBA of New Zealand as he does the safety car restart. Warming up his tyres. Peter of New South Wales in P2. Big Al of Victoria in P3. That's how Dabri of Queensland in P4. It looks like there's a collision. FIBA has hit Peter. Although it's probably Peter's hit FIBA. And they've both picked up 5-second penalties. from that. I'm sure they won't be too happy with that. They won't be reversed after the race, unfortunately for them. Oh, Sid has got one for a collision with Ali as well. Zooming forward with Bieber as he comes through the second last corner. He's got those tyres nice and warm. And he's gone.
He is well and truly gone.
Yeah, he's got a good jump. Nearly a second clear of Peter already. We've got a little bit of battle between the two Victorians, Valley and Seb down the pit straight. And Seb has got the jump on him. Take 6th place into turn 1.
There's those fresh tyres.
Trin.
Oh, Trin
goes off the track. Oh, he nearly has a collision with Apollo Pepsi, the South Australian car, just getting through with unscathed. That's a very close call there. The West Australian did a risky rejoin. Oh, there's a bit of a battle pack for 14th as well down the field. We've got Pondit and Quantum Effect, Psycho, Simdogger, Mr. Spicer. All jostling for position down there.
Sid getting past Matt Dabry.
Yeah, he's doing really well on those fresh enters. Be interested to see if he can get up to the front. 6 laps to go. Beavers hits fast left the race along 33.444.
Ooh, Matt Dabry's gone a bit wide. He's opened the door for Seb.
Meanwhile, Sid's also making a move on Big Al now. He's got the move done. Pretty comfortably as well.
Seb needs to find a way past Matt Dabry.
Yeah, they've dropped right off the pace. Big Al's already nearly 9/10 behind Sid. Matt Dabry 8/10 behind Big Al. Seb dropped off a little bit from Matt Dabry after that little push, but he's 1.4 seconds clear of Ali, who hasn't pit. Pepsi's struggling as well to get past the slower cars. We've got 5 laps remaining. Has a bit of a look at Pepsi into turn 1. Decides better of it. So Big Al's made a little mistake. Matt Dabry's only 3/10 behind him now. And Quantum Effect has retired. We've got a safety car. Just going to jump back with Simdogger, who's pitting.
Safety car.
Looks like he's lost it at the exit of turn 2.
He was right in the thick of things, so maybe there was some contact. I'm not sure. I didn't see anything.
Yeah, just looking on board, and the car's disappeared just as Simdogger goes through. Unfortunately, I couldn't see it. It did look like it was the exit of turn 2, so most likely he's just lost it on the exit curb. But yeah, he was battling pretty hard for the midfield. So this is giving a bit of breathing space to Big Al, who's got Matsiao Dabry just behind him. As they get the green flag again. Oh, and Matt Mattia Dabri looks like he's had a much better restart, and he's only 3/10 behind him now. So Polo Pepsi has picked up a 3-second penalty. It's going to hurt him so much at the end of this race now. As Seb has a bit of a look at the Queenslander as well. Dabri in a bit of a Victorian sandwich here. Just holding up the Queenslander, giving Seb a chance to close in. Dabri has a bit of a peek into turn 1. Big Al a little bit too far away this time. Further back as well, Polo Pepsi right on the back of Ali, who also didn't pit. And South Australian basically pushing the Victorian through turn 3. Can't quite do anything at the moment. Big Al really struggling now to keep back the Queenslander. Gap's just under 3/10. And they both have a big wobble on the exit curb. I'm surprised that Sid hasn't been able to catch up to his teammate as quickly as I would have thought. He's just over a second behind, but he is closing a little bit. Oh, having a look back at Polo Pepsi side by side with Ali. They're coming up into turn 11, the side by side. Oh, they give each other just enough room. Oh, Pepsi nearly loses the car through turn 12. And he gets the job done. Trent as well manages to get through past the Victorian. Al still holding on with P4 as Bieber sets the fastest lap of the race at the 1:33.2. Oh, Pepsi's nearly lost it in the background at the final corner. Massive tank slapper through the exit off the last corner. Still holds on to P7.
Sid picks up a 3-second time penalty.
5 seconds clear of Big Al though, so it shouldn't affect him too much, but...
Yeah, that hurts his chances of going for the win though.
Oh, Matt Dabri's so close to the back of Big Al. He's going to have to make a move soon. He's only got 2.5 laps to do it. Have the pace. I don't know if Big Al may be running a slightly lower downforce setup as Matt Dabri nearly loses the rear, and now he's got Seb all over the back of him as there's a bit of a change position a bit further back as Seb goes for a big dive into the second last corner. They're touching wheels, and now Polo Pepsi is thinking, oh, I'm going to get in on some of this action now. They're still side by side through the final corner, and the Victorian of Seb has got through past the Queenslander, and now we've got a little tasty battle here for P5. The Polo Pepsi from South Australia and Trent of Western Australia here as Matt Dabri tries to get back past the Victorian. Can't quite get it done. And this has helped Big Al a lot. His teammate battling so hard. It has meant that Big Al's been able to get a little bit of a gap as the South Australian of Apollo Pepsi tries to get past the Queenslander, who has a massive tank slapper through turn 3 and 4. They try and go side by side through 5, but can't quite do it. And now Trent's trying to get past Matt Dabri, who's just going backwards now. All these guys running on the slightly fresher intermediates, except for Mattia Dabri. And I think that decision to stay out has really cost him here. You can see his car's just sliding through every single corner. He does not have the grip of the other guys around him, and he's just going backwards at the moment. And he runs very deep into the corner of turn 9, as we've got West Australian. Looks like Saxa has gone off just behind them at turn 8. And Mattia Dabri now having to defend from Ali, who also went pretty backwards after the safety car restart. He's now just got past him as well. I think he just got through him at turn 11. He has. So Matt Dabry is now down to 9th, and his teammate Lights just behind him as well with those 7 lap hole intermediates. And this has not been good at all for Mattia Dabry. As we've got FIBA starting the final lap of the race. Lights going for a big dive bomb on his teammate. I think there would have been contact if they hadn't ghosted. But Lights has got the move done. I'm not sure if Matt Dabry's got a problem or if it's just his tyre wear has just completely dropped off the cliff. And he's gone.
Yeah, I've got a feeling his tyres are gone, and he's just
all the way
been
down to 10th.
Yeah, he's just been on the wrong side of the corners, and yeah, when you're out of position like that, it can really hurt you.
Absolutely. Now Big Al's under a bit of pressure from his Victorian teammate of Seb for P4. Apollo Pepsi, the South Australian, as well, is just there as Matt Dabry has left the session. Not sure if that's an unrelated network issue, but yeah, very disappointing. Queensland currently need a few points. They are down in 3rd place at the moment. They're at risk of losing positions to New Zealand, with FIBA going to win this race by the looks of it. As, yeah, Batemate has got past Mattia Dabry, as has Pondon, so not a great result from Queensland after starting this race so strong. We'll jump a little further back. Ali of Victoria has got Lights of Queensland right behind him. Quantum's just reported that his game crashed, so that is unfortunate. Final lap of the race, and FIBA comes across the finish line to win for New Zealand. We've got Sid coming across for New South Wales in P2, and PDR as well for New South Wales in P3. Big Al's just 8.6 seconds behind. Is he going to be able to jump any positions without penalties? He stays P4, Seb 5th, Trin jumps up to 6th, Apollo Pepsi 7th, Ali is about to cross the line in P8, Lights crashes across the line in P9, Batemate comes across in P10, and Pondon in P11. We've got Saxa. I think he had a little bit of a spin on that final lap. He's just coming across the line now. And does a bit of a burnout on the pit straight as well. And driver of the day, Big Al for Victoria. Great race from Mr. Schumacher himself. And if you didn't know, he is the brother of Ali. Just thought I'd throw that out there. Even Ali's not in the chat to remind us this race. Very snazzy uniform that FIBA has there. And then we've got Sid, P2, Peter, wanting to run his own team this special event. In the pink livery, didn't quite get his way, but he's gone the pink uniform as well for P3 as well. So congratulations to them for the podium. Double podium for New South Wales. And the rest of the group, we've got Pondon in P11, Mattia Dabry finishing P12 after that pretty horrid restart. And then disconnecting as well when his computer crashed. We've got Psycho P13, Mr. Spicer 14th, Mika 15th, Simdog 16th, Saxa 17th, and then Hero a lap down in 18th, Quantum and Mickey not finishing the race. Okay guys, bear with us a couple more minutes. We're just going to get ready for our 4th and final race for the AFR State of Origin. We'll be back soon. All right, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, for the fourth and final race tonight of Aussie Formula Racing's State of Origin on F1 2020. Give you a score update at the moment. So we have in P1 leading is New South Wales with 125. Second place is Victoria with 67. Third place is Queensland with, my mistake. Third place is New Zealand with 34. Fourth place is Queensland with 24. Fifth place is Western Australia with 23. Sixth place is South Australia with 20. And seventh is the ACT with 0 points. And I believe the top three of the Drivers' Championship is first place Mikau with 50 points. Second place is Sid on 36. Then we have third place with Seb with 25. Just in front of his teammate, I believe that's Potsy, fourth with 24. And PTR fifth on 23. So we will confirm all of these scores after the race. They will be posted up on Discord for AFR, so jump in there if you're not already. And we'll get some information out on the socials as well to confirm those finishing positions once we are all done. So we're here at Baku, Azerbaijan for the fourth and final race. Always a bit of entertainment and excitement here. And hopefully afterwards we'll be saying well done Baku. Just waiting for the last couple of drivers to load up their setups. Jump on board with our championship leader at the moment, with Mikau for New South Wales. So currently Potsy leading at the moment for Victoria. We've got Peter and P2 and Mikau P3 qualifying. Peter jumping. Let's see, they're pretty much neck and neck as they come through the last couple of corners in Sector 1. And we'll find out at the split who's in front. And I believe it's Mikau has taken the lead on this hot lap. Very wide apex there through the chicane at the start of Sector 2. Still maintains the lead. Trim WA in P2 as well. Takes a lot of curve on the inside there. Does the New South Welshman. Comes through the castle section now as well. Very nice and tidy. Hugs that inside wall just after the castle section. Runs very wide on the exit to keep the foot planted. And we have Mikau New South Wales leading, followed by Trent of WA. Potsy has retired from the session. Fever New Zealand is in third as well. And Victoria just completely dropped off. Wahid is currently the highest placed Victorian in P11.
Strategic. It's all strategy for
Absolutely.
Victoria.
They want to get the hardened compound tyre to start on, so it's all playing the long game.
And the slipstream.
Absolutely. So Mikau coming onto the final straight now, should be taking pole position for New South Wales. Trin in Western Australia in P2 and Fever for New Zealand in P3. I think Fever might actually be P3 in the championship. I think because of his win has just jumped him up. But anyway, we'll continue on. And yeah, we've got Mikau P1, Trin P2, Fever P3, Peter P4, Jacob 5th, combined 6th. Apollo Pepsi 7th, Matt Dabry 8th, Lights 9th, Bait Mate 10th. And we've got Big Al Quantum, Ali, Mickey, Psycho, Saxa, Nut, Wahid, Potsy, T-Mac. Those last three either getting disqualified for cutting the track or not setting a time. Just wait for the race session to load up. And it'll be a few seconds while they select their strategies and load up cars with fuel. Seb, I think we did catch you getting past Matsuya Dabry in turn 15. And then ever since then, I'm not sure what you did to his car, but he just went backwards after that. So might have been some dirty Victorian tactics, but that's all right. There's no stewards.
Whatever gets the job done.
Yeah, absolutely. This is no stewards in this this fun race at all. Just bragging rights. Okay, 15 seconds. The drivers finalise their loadouts. And we'll be off on our final formation lap of the evening. So it looks like we're going to have a dry race so far. Not sure if there's going to be anything a bit later on. And off they go. Have a look at these tyres. Interesting. So we've got obviously the top 10 starting on the soft tyre that they qualified on. We then have Big Al, Quantum Effect, Ali, Mickey, Saxa, Nut, Wahid and Potsy all starting on the medium tyre. Psycho and T-Mac of Queensland opting to go for the hard tyre as Psycho and Nut appear to have come together and are going to be on the grid. Do not fancy being Psycho with those hard tyres sitting on the grid for a whole lap.
No.
Not warming up at all. It's going to be a fun turn one for him. So only got the 13 laps here at Baku. It is one of the longer tracks of the calendar as Potsy and T-Mac come together. And also sitting on the grid. So the two hard runners will be starting on very, very cold tyres. Potsy and Nut on the mediums. Not getting to warm them up. Oh, he is. Mickey nearly hits the wall there as he goes to the castle section. He got a nice little onboard from his front wing. He's pushing pretty hard on this out lap. Most of the field's still just back at the castle section.
Yeah, taking a lot of life out of his softs.
Yeah, I would be surprised if he'll do a similar strategy to what he did at Hungary. He may pit lap 2 or lap 3 just to get rid of those soft tyres and just push to the end on the mediums. Still some guys back at the left-hander at the top of the hill in Sector 2, so it's going to be a little bit. Thank you so much, Pondon, for the raid. 51 viewers, thank you so much. Welcome, everyone. We're just about to start the 4th and final race of our Aussie Formula Racing State of Origin Championship here. New South Wales with a very commanding lead of 125 points from Victoria in second with 67 and New Zealand in third with 34. I think unless all the New South Welshmen finish outside the points and it's an all-Victorian podium, I think we may see New South Wales bring home the bacon. As we wait for the last couple of cars to form up on the grid, should be getting the lights coming on any second now. And here we go, the lights are coming on, the engines rev. And they're away. Pretty decent stuff from everyone. A little bit of wheel spin over there on the inside. 2-3 wide into the first corner. It looks like a great start by Wahid. So we wait for the leaderboard to just normalise a little bit. So Mikau still got the lead. They're side by side into turn 2. Looks like it's pretty tidy. Doesn't look like there's any carbon fibre. There is. So Queenslander, it looks like, may have just got squeezed into the inside wall. Be on to the run into turn 3. Keeping it relatively tidy, a little bit of argy-bargy there between New South Wales and the Victorian.
I think I've seen a fair bit of carbon fibre on this opening lap.
Yeah, it looks like Apollo Pepsi's lost his left end plate. I saw him stationary for a brief moment there at the exit of turn 5.
He has, as well as Matt Dabry. Also, I think, might be missing an end plate. No.
As the cars go through the castle section, one of the hardest bits of track on the F1 calendar. Oh, as it looks like Ali had a big moment, ran very deep into the castle section, but managed to survive and not kill everyone behind him. And have a drag race as they go into the left-hander that's flat at the top of the hill. 3 wide briefly. Oh, it's right at the back. The Queenslanders hit the back of the Victorian. Psycho ran straight out the back of Ali. Ali went into the wall, broke his front wing. I think the Queenslanders got some end plate damage as well from that contact. And Psycho on those cold, hard tyres, we called it out beforehand. So he's not able to pull it up. It's going to jump up a little bit further. Looks like Trin's under a bit of pressure from Fever and PTR.
Pepsi hitting.
DRS has been enabled apparently on lap 2, which seems a bit early for me. We've got 3 cars in the pits. We've got Pepsi and it looks like 2, maybe 3 Queenslanders in the pits. Yeah, Matsuya, Dabry, T-Mac and Psycho all getting front wing damage. The only Queenslander not to pit is Lights, who is in P11. Oh, it's been a horrible, horrible start to the race for Queensland. On contrary, New South Wales, all 4 drivers in the top 10. Just going to wait for the end of this lap and the leaderboard should normalise. It's currently showing Apollo Pepsi in the lead. He's actually third last at the moment. Okay, looks like it's sorted itself out. Fever just 0.2 of a second behind Trin. Battle for P2. Peter as well, right with him.
Lights is also carrying damage, no M plates. He is missing both M plates.
No damage on all 4 Queensland cars. This has been a horrible, horrible race for the Queenslanders. That said,
mate.
There's no Victorians in the top 10 either, so I don't think they've had a great race either. As we've got Fever making a move on Trin into turn 1. Gives him a lot of room, and he hangs around the outside. New Zealander does have the inside for turn 2, and have a look at Peter. He's right in behind them as well. DRS has been enabled now, and the West Australian is just a sitting duck as they both go flying past on the run into turn 3. And yeah, there's absolutely nothing Trin can do there. He just slips in behind, and he'll have to wait for the long straight at the end of the lap to come back. As Lights pits. And it looks like T-Mac has pit again, so I'm not sure if he got some more damage on his outlap. He's back in the pits to chuck on another set of mediums by the looks of it.
Only 13 laps here. Already on lap 3.
Massive train of New Zealanders and Melburnians going through the castle section now. You can hardly tell them apart on the track map. He's been, I'm not sure if he lit up the rears if he got some contact there, but Ali nearly lost it just starting the exit of the castle section, and that's how Dabry goes through to take P15. Side by side with Wahid as well. Wahid cuts the curb. He didn't even try to make the corner then.
He's carrying damage as well.
Okay, so he lets his teammate go through as well. And yeah, Mattia Dabry making up a couple of positions there. As our leaders have pit, we've got Peter coming into the pits and Jacob Meister coming into the pits after only 3 laps on those soft tyres. And we have a virtual safety car. That will help their race nicely. They had just pit. It looks like Jacob Meister had wing damage. I'm not sure if Peter did as well. I wonder if, maybe there was some debris on the track. Possibly Wahid has triggered the virtual safety car. But those who pit, as Peter nearly gets a warning there for unsafe pit exit. But yeah, that would have helped him very nicely, getting a cheap pit stop there under the virtual safety car. It should be coming back to green flag racing any second now. And there we go. And it looked like Peter tried to get a cheeky little pass on Nut. And Mattia Dabry driver through penalty for speeding under the virtual safety car. I wonder if he went a little bit too early. I was on board with Peter at the moment. And he looked like he tried to get a pass on Nut before the green flags came out. And I wonder if that's made the run. I wonder if Matt Dabry's reacted to that and gone, and he's got into trouble with the Delta. Obviously, in previous games, you were allowed to go once you got prepared to resume racing, but in 2020, they have removed that ability, so...
Yeah, even just, getting the run for when the green comes on, and maybe misjudged it a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. So, having a look, Nicky and Mattia Dabry going side by side through the kink at the top of the hill. Oh, there's a bit of contact. There's contact between the 3 cars there. A couple of the New Zealand cars made contact with Ali as well, and they pushed Mattia Dabry nearly into the wall. I don't know how he avoided getting damage, but he manages to get... No, he's got right end plate damage. He has got right end plate damage there. He's hit the wall. The exit just at the top of the hill. And just when you thought he'd made a bit of a recovery and he's picked up damage again. We see another bunch of drivers coming into the pits now to get rid of those soft tyres on lap 5. And yeah, Matteo Dabri comes into the pits again. Not been a great race at all for him. Watching Mika now, who's in P4. He's got 3 cars in front of him now who have yet to pit after starting on the medium tyre. Fever has come with him, though. He's only half a second behind, so we could be in for a very tasty little battle for the lead of this race. Thank you so much, Gutsy TTV, for the follow.
Potsy on the hard tyre now.
Got a yellow flag. It looks like we've got one of the Queenslanders has gone around its lights at turn 2. Triggering yellow flag down there.
Mate turned in on Potsy there.
That was Apollo Pepsi, I believe. The South Australian car, they're getting turned around at turn 3.
Yeah, that was a concertina effect. I think Batemate turned in a little bit too early.
Yeah, both the Victorian and the South Australian getting held up by that. Potsy on fresh hard tyres as well, so those will need to come up to temperature. It's going to jump up a little bit. We've got a battle between Sachs and Mikau. Feber for P3. Feber just a tenth of a second behind Mikau. This is for the effective race lead. And we have a virtual safety car. Mickey has crashed. It looks like we had a bit of a crash outside the castle section. It looks like one of the New Zealand cars of Mickey has DNF'd on board with lights as he goes through that section now. And he looks like he's lost it on the exit of that corner and hit the inside wall. We might recall that a couple of years ago, I believe it was Kvyat retired on that side of the track.
Yes.
Oh, and Lutz has just gone straight on. He's gone straight on and he's retired under virtual safety car. I think Ericsson hit him, but he's gone straight on. And that was remarkable. And Potsy has got a drive-through penalty for speeding under virtual safety car. Yeah, okay. That was interesting. I'll bring that up for a replay. And yeah, just after lights went past the crashed car, he just completely locked up at the corner at the top of the hill and just went straight into the wall at about 50 k's an hour and blew up his front right tyre. Oh, wow. What an unfortunate retirement for the Queenslander. Okay, we're back to green flag racing and it looks like this battle for the lead. We've got Mikau, Feber and Saxa. Saxa hasn't picked yet. He's on the 5 block old mediums, but Mikau and Feber is for the effective race lead. We've got the 2 Western Australians doing a very good job to get out of each other's way. Trin goes through, who's also on fresh medium tyres. And this is a very, very tasty battle for the lead as well. All 3 podium positions are up for grabs here. Got the New South Welshman, the New Zealander and the West Australian all battling it out. Oh, we've got a little bit further back that it looks like Peter and Saxa having a bit of battle as well. Combined, catching up to his teammate. I wonder if there's going to be a fair bit of team orders happening here. Jostling for position. Sax is going to be a sitting duck on pit straight now. Peter has absolutely no ERS left, so he's got nothing to defend from his teammate, who goes screaming past him. He tries to make it difficult for his teammate. I don't think it's a wise decision. This is a team sport after all.
It's always about the constructors, we all know that.
yes, that's definitely right, Mr. Van Camp. Peter does stay in front, but he's sitting on 3% ERS. He's using his overtake on the second straight behind Saxa. He's just going to be holding up his teammate here. He's got no energy whatsoever. And Feber has dropped outside of DRS range from Mikau at the front. Trin just half a second behind him now.
Baku is one of the harder tracks to manage the ERS around, so it's not surprising that some guys are really struggling at the moment.
And Peter gets past Saxa, a bit of a dive bomb into Hulkenberg corner. And gets it done though, pretty cleanly. Goes through. Oh, he nearly kisses the castle wall there as he goes through. But he's now up into P4, combined now sitting behind Saxa, whose tyres are starting to give up a little bit. It's been on those for 6 laps. like the New South Walesman should get past the West Australian pretty comfortably on the pit straight now. But New South Wales having a very strong race here. First, fourth and sixth at the moment. Opens up the DRS. The West Australian of Saxa does come into the pits. Combine will say thank you very much for the bit of extra speed on the straight. As he closes the gap to his teammate, stays within the DRS zone. Jacob Meister for New Zealand as well, and Nutt for New Zealand, doing quite well in 6th and 7th respectively.
Big Al with the fastest lap.
Yeah, great effort by him on the soft tyre. Good job a little bit further up. It's Trim pressuring the New Zealand driver of FIBA. New Zealand also 3 cars in the top 10. Great effort from them. Lights, you may want to go back and have a look. I think Ericsson hit you, mate. It was broadcast. Which Trin following the back of FIBA. Looks like Mikau is absolutely bolted now that he's got clear of the DRS. He's 2 seconds away from them.
Quantum having a look at Nutt at the moment.
Oh yeah, they've gone side by side on the little straight into Hulkenberg corner. It's the corner where Hulkenberg infamously ruined a pretty good race for Renault, turning in on the corner and breaking his suspension. Apollo Pepsi as well, right in this battle. Quantum Effect opted for the soft tyres, so we're starting to see a lot of these medium runners come into the pits now. The South Australian Apollo Pepsi right on the back of the New Zealander. Both going to be pitting pretty soon, I would expect. 4 laps to the end. Pepsi makes a move well before the DRS zone. Gets in front of Nutt. It's Peter picks up the first penalty of the race. It's a pretty solid effort for Baku. 9 laps in, no one else getting penalties.
Yeah, well done, Baku.
As the whole South Australians hit the wall. I think he's hit the wall. Something happened there. I'm not sure if it was a collision between him and Nutt or if he turned in too early and hit the wall. But I definitely saw wing go.
Gone straight on.
I think Nutt might have some wing damage. I'm not sure if that was contact with Pepsi or not. Thank you so much, Coops Gaming, for the follow. As Saxa now into the points as he gets past Nutt, who's struggling to recover with that wing damage. Oh, and he's locking up as well. He's struggling now that he's got that lower downforce at the front. Let's have a look at the margins at the moment. Big Al just 8/10 behind Apollo Pepsi now. And they've dropped off Quantum Effect a little bit. And Trin barely staying within DRS range. I think he may have actually dropped out of it now. Across the top of the hill. But they've still got a 2.5 second gap from Mikau, so fair bit of work to do to close that down. Hunting down Apollo Pepsi, trying to get a few more points for Victoria. Quantum Effect doing very well at the moment for ACT, hasn't yet picked up any points. He's the only driver for the territory. And he's doing a great job, currently sitting in 7th position. And on those fresh soft tyres, he should be able to hopefully catch down Jacob. We do have another yellow flag. It looks like a Victorian of Potsy, I believe, has gone straight on. At the same corner we saw Lights DNF. I can't see any damage, so I think he's just locked up and run a bit deep into the runoff area. Apollo Pepsi now has just got past Big Al. Big Al's coming back at him. And he switches back to the inside, but can't quite get through. Trin just half a second behind FIBA now. See Nutt going backwards at the moment with that wing damage. He obviously doesn't want to pit again. Pepsi jumping to the inside. Can't quite get there. Nutt does pit now to get that wing replaced. Oh, as Big Al runs very deep at turn 3, nearly hits the wall, and Big Al, Potsy tries to get past him now, and I think he's got the move done. They are side by side through turn 4, and on the run to turn 5. I think Big Al's got the inside line though. He should be able to hold position, and he does. He just positions his car perfectly in front of the South Australian and manages to hold him up a little bit. Little battle here between the Victorian and the South Australian as go through the castle section. Very tidy, both of them, avoiding the walls. Very tricky section. Just keep an eye on the battle between Fever and Trin for P2, which is 6/10. So I think this is the closest Trin's been in the DRS zone on the back straight. I'll jump on board with them in just a moment. Here we go. Western Australian about to come across the DRS point.
I think he's just managing his ERS for the time being and trying to build it up.
Yeah, he's not using it at the moment. He's closing that gap though. I don't think he's going to quite be there for turn 1, but he may be setting up for the turn 2, 3 DRS zone. Raise the wall then a little bit on the exit. Yeah, I think you're right. He's not using any of his overtake, just saving up a little bit. And it looks like Fever as well is running very low. His light's starting to flash, which indicates that he's got less than 10% charge left in that car. So I think Trin's well aware of that. He's just saving it up a little bit. He'll wait for the next straight. But there are 2 laps to go after this, so he won't want to get past too early because the slipstream here is very, very powerful.
That it is.
Have a little bit of a look at towards the back of the field. We've got Psycho of Queensland, who's made a pretty good recovery after the little bit of damage picked up earlier on. He's up to 13th, just behind Wahid, the Victorian, in P12, just inside the DRS zone, and Potsy as well, just behind him in the DRS. A few drivers in the pits. Teknak and Matsuya Dabri putting on the wet tyre. Obviously, they're not too confident with their chances for the rest of the race. Opting to go for the extremes.
Maybe they're listening to Jeff.
Nuts putting on the full wets as well, so obviously they're having a bit of a laugh at the back of the field of this final race for the State of Origin. Have a look at Trin. He's dropped off a little bit from the back. It looks like, oh, Fever doing a dummy into the pits. Oh, and he nearly loses it on the exit curb as well. Trin's all over the back of him. Comes down into turn 2. He touches the wall again on the exit. Not using any of his energy though. I think he's waiting for the final lap to make his move. Meanwhile, Apollo Pepsi and Big Al battling into turn 1, banging tyres. The South Australian's got the inside line though. Big Al gives him plenty of space. Victorian, very respectful there. Bit of a drag race towards turn 3. They touch tyres just a little bit. Apollo Pepsi with the DRS open has the inside line. We've got a yellow flag through the castle section. That looks like one of the Queenslanders has lost it in the castle section, and a New South Welshman has been caught up in that as well. I'm not sure if it's one of the guys who've come in for wet tyres, but yeah, it looks like there's a bit of drama happening there right in front of the leaders as they come through. Oh, yep, and the wet tyre's gone round. That looked like one of the Queenslanders has just lost some of his front wing. Oh, Trin nearly losing the rear through that corner down the hill. As Matt said, Abri has retired from the session. Shouldn't bring out any safety car. There is only 1 lap to go after this. Trin just half a second behind Fever, the New Zealander. Oh, he's so close. Is he going to have a lunge into turn 1? New Zealand goes slightly defensive, and he's not able to do it this time around. But he may try it into turn 3, but he doesn't necessarily want to give away the track position too early. That last straight is going to be very powerful with the DRS and ERS being used to pass. And Big Al and Apollo Pepsi still fighting into turn 1.
Oh! Yep. Fever almost losing it and damaging his wing there. I think he got away with it. But...
looks like Apollo Pepsi's about to make a move on Big Al into turn 3. Yes, he gets the move done pretty comfortably as well. Going to jump back up to Trin as they go through the castle section now. Baymate has retired from the session. That was a turn 1. Looks like he's run a bit wide on the exit and he's hit the wall and DNF'd. Trin 7/10 behind Fever. He's got 25% ERS. Fever's got 36, so he does actually have more energy to work with than the Western Australian. Ooh, a bit of a wide apex there from Trin. So they come around onto the back straight now. The gap is just 6.5 tenths. As Mikkel, 4.5 seconds down the road, comes across the line to win the final race of the State of Origin for F1 2020 and takes out the championship as well for New South Wales. The Trin using every little bit of power he's got. I don't think he's got enough. He is catching it, but the race finish line is just there, and 2 tenths he misses out. Comes in third behind Fever in second. We've got Peter coming across the line in fourth. Combined coming across the line in fifth. That's 3 New South Welshmen in the top 5. Jacob Meister for New Zealand coming across in sixth. That's 2 New Zealanders in the top 10. Quantum Effect comes across the line in 7th place for the ACT. Finally gets some points on the board, and well done to him for sticking it out on his own for the ACT. Got Apollo Pepsi for South Australia on his own, coming across the line in P8, followed by Big Al. He did manage to win that little battle that they had for the last few laps. A great effort by those guys. Got Ali and Saxa dragging it to the finish line. They're side by side. It looked like Wahid tried to, I think that was Ali, tried to just sideswipe him a little bit as he went across the line, but Ali does win on penalties. Psycho comes across the line in 11th for Queensland. Saxa 12th on penalties for Western Australia. We've got Wahid as well doing donuts on the pit straight. And he's trying to go, oh my god, I thought he just got some airtime then. Potsy as he went across. Wahid's doing some donuts to celebrate, although Victoria did not quite bring it home, unfortunately. Well, we just need to wait for him to cross the line, and we should get the remainder of our results. But he's continuing to do some doughies for us. But yes, I think pretty comprehensively New South Wales has won the State of Origin for Aussie Formula Racing. I believe, what will they get? They got 25, 43. Actually, not 43, they got 25, 40, and then 12 for P5, I think they get. 12 or 10 for P5 band. I think it's 10.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I think they got about 55 points, so they ended up with about 180 points. They were well clear of anything that Victoria would have been able to achieve, so congratulations to them. I will be adding up the rest of the results and posting them on Discord this evening, so you all can celebrate and brag to each other while we hopefully wait for Wahid to finish up his donuts. The AI has already come around. I think that might actually be I know, we're still waiting for Potsy as well to finish, so
yeah.
There we go. The wet runners have come across the line. And I think that's it. No, we're still waiting for
That is it.
I'm pretty sure that's Mikhail coming back around for his victory lap. And there we go, Wahid is coming to the pits. He reset the track as well. And there we go. Thank you very much, Wahid, for that little celebration. Okay. Quantum Effect got driver of the day. Well done to him. Great effort as the only driver from the ACT. Well deserved. So we have Mikau here, P1 for New South Wales. We have Fever for New Zealand in P2 and Trin for Western Australia in P3. Great little battle from those guys. Once Mikau did get clear of the DRS though, he did an excellent job of staying ahead and pulling away. But we had a great battle all race long between the New Zealander and the Western Australian. And of course we had combined in P4, Peter P5, Jacob P6, Quantum 7th, Apollo Pepsi in 8th, Big Al in 9th, and Ali in 10th. We then had outside the points Psycho, Saxa, Potsy, Wahid, Baitmate, Nut, T-Mac, and then we had did not finishes from Matsia, Dabri, Lights, and Mickey. Well, that basically wraps it all up here from us at Aussie Formula Racing. I hope you all had as much fun as we did. Yeah, it was a great bit of fun. I'm sure all the guys had some good fun as well driving around. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you to Bandcamp for joining me in the commentary box for this evening. I've been Gus Rawls. Join us next week. We should be back to our regular viewing for Tier 1 and Tier 2 on Sunday night. We'll be on Friday night for Formula 2. Just remember the daylight savings ended today for Queensland, for New South Wales, Victoria, and Tasmania, as well as New Zealand. So those of you in Queensland, Western Australia, and Northern Territory, the races will be an hour later than normal. So when you're in Queensland, you will be aligned with Melbourne, and race will start at 7 p.m. Melbourne time and 8:30 p.m. on Friday for Formula 2. All right, thank you all for joining us so much. We hope to see you again soon. We'll catch you later.
See ya.